Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we are discussing what is a large watch by the standards of NOMOS Glashütte. This is the Metro Neomatik 41. And although it is definitely a Neomatik, it is not quite a 41, as I measure it at 40.5 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel, 9.4 millimeters thick. If we just measure the lug-to-lug without the strap, it would be 47.5 millimeters, but with the extra gathered material of the strap around the lugs, the total distance across the wrist here is going to be 50.5 millimeters, and it uses a 20 millimeter strap width. We'll throw this watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and although this is a larger NOMOS, it wears as beautifully as many of their smaller models. First of all, like a wire lug Panerai Radimir, it's mostly all case, with the lugs really just being there to drape the strap over the edge of your wrist, which they do well, without creating any sort of imposing symmetry issues. You don't worry about the watch being too big for the wrist. Everything looks agreeable because really the eye only reads the 40.5 millimeter case, making it a good symmetrical match for even smaller wrists. I think you could pull this off on a wrist of 13.5 centimeters circumference. Again, my wrist is 16. It's a flat watch. It'll easily slide underneath the cuff, so while it's not explicitly a dress watch, it will work as such. Taking a quick look at the strap, it's a little bit different than the shell cordovan you get on a standard NOMOS. This one's textile. It's gray. You can see it's a brand new NOMOS factory strap. We have a pin buckle here. It's a counterweighted piece in matching stainless steel, also NOMOS branded, minimalist like most of the brand's designs. The Metros are defined by these tubular wire style lugs. That's how you know you're looking at a Metro. Case, well, cylindrical, polished, and with a very minimal bezel. You can see it's a monoblock case, so everything loads through the back, the dial and the movement. The bezel and the case are all one piece. We have a crown with a knurling on its side. We have 3 rows of knurling and then NOMOS branding. It's all polished, push-down crown, 50 meters water resistant. We have a generously domed sapphire that looks a little bit like a vintage plexiglass from some angles. And then we have a dial that is silver white opaline with a light frosted glow. You can see that there is a sunken sub-register for seconds with a concentric pattern. We have blackened hands that are almost superimposed batons over needles, so a baton needle hybrid right there. And then we have an electric orange or signal orange date indicator. The watch does have a hacking or stop seconds function. You can see the seconds hand just stopped there. I can now synchronize against a reference time if I wish. And we have a bidirectional quick set. You can see that the signal orange straddles the current date. So now it's the 15th, now it's the 16th, and I can move it in either direction with the quick set, an unusual feature that is not general in the industry, but always welcome when I encounter it. Now, of course, made in Germany, in Glashütte, in East Germany, the cradle of German watchmaking, and on the reverse side you can see a movement that's fairly new. Unusual feature, you can see that the letters on NOMOS Glashütte Deutsche Ehrenwerke, they are actually raised in relief rather than engraved or stamped, so it's an interesting style for this DUW 6101 Deutsche Ehrenwerke. That means it is an all NOMOS movement. Previously their in-house calibers had names derived from Greek letters, so sigma, alpha, that sort of thing. Well, that meant the movement was in-house, but when you see DUW, yes, the movement's in-house, but so are the tough parts, the escape wheel, the anchor, the hairspring, and the balance, and this is the NOMOS swing system. It's deeply impressive for a company that's not part of a massive group to make these parts. You can also see that the hairspring is oxidized blue. That's the signature of the swing system. It's a high-grade splayed spoke balance, much like you'll find on chronometer-grade Swiss watches. The movement debuted in 2018 on the Autobahn, so it's a large movement designed for larger watches. Automatic winding with a 42-hour power reserve, 6 beats per second is the rate. It's braced against shock with a full balance bridge, which I like to see. That means it was designed with sporting use in mind. It is a 27 joule movement that is adjusted in 6 positions, and the 6 position adjustment quite impressive because that's one more than the chronometer standard of 5, so it's exhaustive. We have stripes across the rotor, stripes across the bridges, real fire blued screws. We have engine turning on the base plate. We have a machine machined but very neat bevel on the edge of all the bridges, which is appreciated. You can see there's two different sizes of engine turnings. We have the perlage nicely decorated. We also have polished screws, and you can see them on the center of the rotor as well as on the crown wheel core. And there's also black polishing on the cap to the rotor bearing as well as the crown wheel core. So although it is not an extensively hand-decorated movement, it is a well-decorated movement and appropriate to the price. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.